What's good, yo? I'm LeBlanc.
And I'm OC.
Time for another adventure.
Say you want smoke, you can drop the address. I'm a stone cold killer, I'ma do so on my chest. 50 cal deagle bullet shooting through the vest. Hope the morgue got a mop, cause I'm finna leave a mess.
Today's episode is gonna be themed around mob movies, mafia movies, and specifically three men who have recently, unfortunately, passed away. Ray Liota, James Caan, Tony Sirico. Amazing mob actors. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could start off by talking about Ray Liota, because I love Ray Liota. He's probably the one I watched most out of all three of them.
Yeah, same.
I guess.
He's the youngest out of all three of them, too.
Is he the youngest? He's the youngest, apparently. He knows that, I don't. Take his word, not mine. Nah, I mean, fucking Goodfellas, dude. Henry Hill. Goodfellas. He was a good guy. They was good fellas, you know? Opening scene of that movie, where they just open with a killing, I mean, you can never go wrong.
Truck?
Hmm?
Is that the garbage truck?
No, he's in the trunk and they're driving.
Yeah.
It's him, Joe Pesci, and Robert De Niro. Yeah, what's that noise? And they pull over. You can never go wrong with a first scene kill. I mean...
Off the bat, right into it.
Nah, but Ray Liota did a really good job in that movie. He was also very good in Observe and Report.
Hilarious movie. I found out what it was that Seth Rogen had in that. He was bipolar.
Ah,
He was
yes.
trying to figure out what was wrong with him.
And his mom's fucking an alcoholic and she's always just on the couch.
Great combo.
B-movie. You haven't seen B-movie, have you?
I have, but not like since it came out.
For those of you who don't know, Ray Liota plays himself in B-movie. He gets sued by Barry for, he has like a honey. He sells honey or something. Actually, I think it's something funny. He's like, I just signed an endorsement deal. Like, I don't even do anything to... Yeah.
He took a picture. Wild Hogs.
I was just about to say Wild
Wild
Hogs.
Hogs.
I was just watching that and forgot he was in it when he's like breaking down everyone's psychology.
Yeah.
He's like, let me guess, you're like an orthodontist or some shit? He's like, actually, you're not that far off. Yeah.
William H. Macy.
He is so funny in that movie when he's riding in the little sidecar. He's just sitting in it, just like,
Yeah,
alright, I guess this is what I'm doing. Yeah, he's like, I guess this is what I'm doing now. I'm just sitting in the sidecar.
Yeah.
James Caan. Man, I never saw The Godfather, but apparently that was his most known film. No disrespect, my favorite James Caan film might be Elf, just given the time I grew up with. He also was in that movie Misery.
Never saw that one.
Based on a Stephen King book, I believe. Yeah, he plays this author. He gets into an accident and this chick who's like obsessed with him rescues him in her cabin, but he broke all of his he broke his legs and shit, so he can't move. He's strapped into the bed. And then she reads his book, or his next book. The draft is in his bag, and she just reads it because she's a big fan of the series, and she does not like how it ends. So she wants to force him to change it. He's also the priest, and That's My Boy.
Another great movie.
Yeah, when the fat dude is running the marathon at the end and he's just chugging the chocolate milk. Look at the fat fuck go! Oh, and he has a tattoo of tattoo. Deplane.
Uncle
Come
Vanilla.
on, it's the Deplane guy.
Vanilla Ice is his uncle.
Uncle Vanny is Vanilla Ice?
You still got the Walkman? Fuck yeah, I do.
Oh, the New Kids on the Block tattoo?
Nah, he fucked the wedding dress.
Oh yeah.
He fucked the
You
wedding
had sex
dress.
with my wedding dress?
And then puked on it.
Oh, what do they call it? Secret tickle time?
It's secret tickle time.
He didn't tell her. Okay, she told him.
Adam Sandler and Vanilla Ice take turns on the grandmother.
Oh man, I think it's time to roll up a blunt.
Axe is a douchebag thing? When did Axe become a douchebag thing?
Alright, now in between segments here, before we get into talking about Tony Sirico, Paulie Walnuts, before we get into talking about the legend himself, time to talk about today's sponsor. Blaze Boss Fontos. These Fontos right here, they're pretty good. I'm not a big Fonto guy, I'm a backwood guy. Everybody that knows me knows that. What's that song I had? I forget what song it was. I think it was like Stillhouse or something. One of my songs, I said something like, just pass me a backwood, not a Fonto. Fontos are cool. I do like these. Shout out to Unc Dane. Shout out to Blaze Boss. I have to get the new papers that they came out with. You know, Unc Dane big guy, you know, he's close with the company over there at Blaze Boss. He gave me a pack of the papers. They were all right, but the gum line didn't stick for shit. I gave him my feedback, and he said they took the feedback and they made some improvements. So I'm looking forward to getting those new papers. Yeah, the Fonto comes with 2 big Fonto leaves per pack. They got the Instagram at Blaze Boss Fonto. Yeah, so let's roll this blunt and start talking about Paulie Walnuts himself, Tony Sirico. So The Sopranos, you just started getting into The Sopranos, right?
I got a couple episodes in.
I feel like I've watched the whole series, but I not paid attention that much. I'd have to get back into it because there's definitely a lot of episodes that I missed or just straight up wasn't paying attention to. You know what else? In my research for today's episode, Tony Sirico is also in Fairly Odd Parents, apparently. Kind of like a cameo appearance in an episode as a voice actor. Obviously as a voice actor, it's a cartoon. Were you a Fairly Odd Parents guy when you were a kid?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a show in my childhood.
I'd say out of any show that, like, cartoon-wise, that I still watch to this day, probably be Fairly Odd Parents and SpongeBob. SpongeBob more so. SpongeBob is my shit.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I watched SpongeBob way more than I watched Fairly Odd Parents.
SpongeBob is just so good. I haven't seen any of that.
It's still going, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I haven't seen any of that new, like, Camp Coral or any other, like, new spin-offs or anything like that, but the OG SpongeBob.
You remember they did the Fairly Odd Parents movie with Drake Bell before his whole...
I was just about to say, we can't even give any... I'm not going to give any praise to that movie because Drake Bell is apparently not the best to leave around your children, let's just say that. I don't know all the details. I don't want to spread any false information, but let's just say he's not the best with children. I wouldn't leave your kids around him. Josh Peck, he has even said he's not friends with him. He just distances himself with it. Actually, that's a good segue too to get back into The Sopranos because I was just watching this interview recently with Josh, and he was saying I believe it was with Barstool with Dave Portnoy. But basically he was saying how Drake had made this huge deal on the night of Josh's wedding, and Josh ended up seeing Drake later at an award show. Josh's quote in this podcast was he said, I feel like this was my most Sopranos moment ever. He was like, I walked right up to him and I just looked at him and I said, go apologize to my wife right now. But yeah, so that gets us back to talking about The Sopranos. Aside from Tony Sirico and Paulie Walnuts, because I just want to use this opportunity to talk about the show as a whole, but of course, rest in peace, Paulie Walnuts, great actor. So what point are you at yet? Like, what's going on? Because I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything for him.
He just told the shrink to fuck off.
Oh, yeah.
For telling him to not love his mother or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Because his mom's a racist.
You're gonna find out a lot throughout this show. There's a lot of informants.
So
there's a lot of informants going on.
I figured.
Trying to figure out who's an informant and who's not. I wish he had seen the whole shit so I could talk more about it. Like, talk about some people who we find out are informants and stuff. But also talk about some people who get killed or die. Believe it or not everybody that dies on this show gets killed. You would think, mob, mafia, it's probably like anyone who's dying gets killed. No, there's a decent amount of deaths that have nothing to do with getting killed.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could say who my opinion on the saddest death in the show is, but I don't want to spoil it for him.
Yeah, don't do that. I have to beat your ass.
See, that's where we draw the line. This happened in the last episode. Beat him up again.
And then I beat his ass.
Okay, so that's a fucking stretch and you know it.
Okay, so
Did someone say queso?
it's a fucking stretch and you know it, queso.
No, alright, question time. I know I got a couple questions lined up already. Obviously, we're gonna go mob theme questions. My first question is, who do you think is the greatest mob actor of all time?
I don't know. I have to think about that.
Without a doubt, my answer is Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
I gotta always
he's been
give it
in
to Joe
so
Pesci.
many, but I don't know. De Niro's a good one.
De Niro is my favorite actor.
That's a good one.
He's my favorite actor. So my favorite actor, I always say is a tie, the Roberts. Pacino's good. My favorite actors in general: Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Johnny Depp, and Leo. those four right there, I really can't even rank them. It's all like tied for first.
Yeah, Leo's pretty fucking good.
I mean, even back when he was a little kid in What's Eating Gilbert Grape,
Yeah.
I heard some stories, I don't know if it's true, that people like after the movie came out during like promo runs and press tours and stuff, people like were surprised that he wasn't mentally challenged, which like, hey, props to your acting. But yeah, Joe Pesci, greatest mob actor of all time. I mean, he's in Casino, A Bronx Tale, obviously Goodfellas, just so many. And also people say though, like,
The funny one is My Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vinny, I love that
Right
movie. Anyway, alright, next question. Favorite mob movie of all time? Not best, not asking what you think the best mob movie of all time is. What's just your favorite?
My favorite's Goodfellas.
My favorite used to be Goodfellas until GOTTI came out. John Travolta, I think 2017.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
It's just so good. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of bias just because it's about John Gotti, and I've developed a certain fascination with John Gotti. I can actually tell the story behind that. So for those of you who are new to me, who've never heard of me before, I am actually a rapper, and I'm in a group called Dope World, and we were putting together our first album, and there's 4 members in the group. There's me, Exit Fame, Static, and King Skelly, and we each, on the first project, we each had a solo song, and on my solo song, I had this one line where it said something. Didn't really like the line, but I didn't know what to change it with. And Exit Fame, he's the oldest member of the group, he suggested I use a line that said, well, the final line ended up being like, play by my money or my kid, you'll get touched, no Sandusky. I don't want none of your fans dusty. Feeling like I'm Gotti the feds, they can't touch me. I'm a big dog, you a puppy.
Driving down the back road, smoking on the backwood. We could get the cheesesteak, or do you just act hood? Play by my money or my kid, you'll get touched, no Sandusky. I don't want none of your fans dusty. Feeling like I'm Gotti the feds, they can't touch me. I'm a big dog, you a puppy. Asking who's the GOAT, who hate it? It must be.
And he suggested the Gotti line. And I thought it sounded good, but
That was a good
I at the time, this was like 2 years ago at this point. At the time, I didn't know about Gotti, like John Gotti and all that. Like, I just wasn't in, like, I didn't get into the Italian Mafia stuff. I'm from South Boston, Massachusetts, so like my knowledge is on the Irish mob, Irish Mafia. We're both Irish boys, once I got into that, researching to figure out, okay, if I'm gonna say this line, I gotta know what I'm talking about. So I got into the research, watched a few documentaries, and watched 2 biopics. There's one from like 90s maybe, and then there's one from like 2017 with John Travolta, and I don't know. I really liked that movie. But Goodfellas was my favorite mob movie before I had seen that movie.
Yeah, Goodfellas is definitely my favorite mob movie. Great documentary to watch. Untold Crime and Penalties. Some form of the mob.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
And another Netflix
Crazy
documentary,
shit.
because that's a Netflix documentary, right?
Yeah.
Another Netflix documentary that deals with the mob and mafia, and it's really good. It's called Fear City, New York versus
I haven't seen
the
that
mob
one.
or the mafia. I forget if it's whatever. It deals with the 5 families and basically them, Rudy Giuliani, that piece of shit. I hope he croaks soon. I would never I don't like to wish death on people, but Rudy Giuliani is a real piece of shit. Always has been.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Anyway, it's like a 3-episode miniseries. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
It's so
Definitely
funny.
gotta
There's
watch that.
they get to the part where they're talking about when Paul Castellano got killed, which happened at Sparks Steakhouse. John Gotti arranged to have Paul Castellano killed because Paul Castellano was doing some things with the family that no one really liked, and John Gotti was able to get, other people, other families on his side to get the approval to do it. The dude who was in charge of looking after Paul Castellano in the grand scheme of the bigger case, he was walking and some guy walked up to him and he goes, "Hey, Big Paulie's been whacked," or like someone whacked Big Paulie. And I don't know why, just the way this goofy old white dude said someone whacked Big Paulie, it was just so funny to me.
That's crazy.
And he wasn't even trying to be funny, like he was dead serious, like trying to be cool, like Big Paulie's been whacked. but it just sounds goofy. Alright, now we're gonna call this next segment, because people seem to like it the last time. This is the off the rails segment. This is where last couple minutes of the episode, we're just gonna talk about whatever current events, whatever's on our mind. Stupid shit, nothing related to the rest of the episode, because people really took to it in the first episode, so we'll keep it going. We'll have our main theme, then we'll have our Q&A on that theme, and then we'll have our off the rails section. I think as we get into the show, we're figuring out what people like and what works.
Home Run Derby starts tonight. Predictions?
Huh?
Home Run Derby starts tonight. Or Home Run Derby is tonight.
Yeah, and I hope what's his name fucking loses.
Who?
I don't know. I don't know much about baseball. I'm gonna just say that right off the rip before I say what I'm about to say.
Sure.
I'm like a, how do I say this? I'm like a passion fan, okay? I'm a fan of the Boston Red Sox just because I'm from Boston. So if the Red Sox are ever playing, I'm rooting for the Red Sox. But like, I don't watch baseball religiously. Like, I don't keep up with what's going on. But
Yeah, I don't
like
watch it
throughout
that
the
much.
season, I'm not just saying like, oh, if we make it to the playoffs. Like throughout the season, through and through, off season, preseason, spring training, regular season, postseason, I'm a Red Sox fan no matter what time of year, what, you know, anything.
Yeah,
but
same.
I just don't know much about baseball outside of the Red Sox. However, I saw today.
So I played a little Little League.
Oh yeah, everyone did.
Exactly. You know a little bit about baseball.
But I saw like someone was about a.
Kyle Schwarber.
Someone's coming close to breaking someone's record, and I don't like that. I think it was Ken Griffey Jr.'s record.
Albert Pujols is back in the Derby.
Huh?
Albert Pujols back in the Derby. Pete Alonso looking to three-peat.
Yeah, that's who it was. Alonso. I hope he loses.
He's looking to three-peat. He's a beast in these derbies. Ronald Acuna Jr. He's another one that can fucking hit for power.
Yeah.
Corey Seager, Julio Rodriguez,
I don't know any of these people.
Juan Soto, unreal.
Yeah, I know Juan
Unreal
Soto.
for the Nats.
All right.
Jose Ramirez,
Another pearl. I had to patch it. Had a stem.
like usual.
Shout out to Blaze Boss Fontos on this. Why isn't it going to focus? Shout out to Blaze Boss Fontos one more time. Unc Dange, we love you, baby. Baby boy.
What you think of Chipotle? Chipotle or Qdoba?
Chipotle. I don't like Qdoba.
I like Qdoba better.
If I'm craving a burrito and Qdoba's all that's around, I'll get it, but I really don't prefer it. I really don't like it.
I had Chipotle yesterday and it just wasn't that good.
I love Chipotle.
I didn't like it that much.
I remember this one time.
Chips were kind of stale.
Yeah.
The chips get stale a lot. Qdobas don't.
Wouldn't know. I remember this one time back in middle school. I came home from Chipotle with my friends and I had like a little bit left over in my burrito and I was sitting at the dining room table to eat and my dad, oh, I was at my dad's. I should have said that. I was at my dad's. And my dad came in and he was like trying to like throw me off and he was like, oh, like, you know, like, you didn't hear like what just happened with Chipotle? And I was like, no. And he's like, yeah, like Chipotle just got caught like using horse meat as their steak. And I was like, I thought about it for a second. I was like, it's some damn good horse meat.
Yo, you're fucked.
Yo, but think about it. Like, no, I'm not gonna like knowingly eat horse meat.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I'm gonna stick to cow, pig, chicken, and fish.
I ain't even,
Oh, and like
I don't even like fish that much.
goat and like deer. I'm open to that stuff. But anyway, like the way I saw it was like, yo, I just ate this whole burrito. I enjoyed the heck out of that burrito. Very much enjoyed it. So now that I know it's not the meat I thought it was, I'm gonna just cap and say, oh, that was nasty. Like, nah, that burrito tasted good. Obviously, my dad was bullshitting. He was just lying just to mess with me, but
In reality, they had a few other scares.
a couple restaurants have. Burger King had the horse meat. Burger King
Nah.
foot lettuce.
Sure.
Overplayed, I'm sorry.
Chipotle had the E. coli breakout, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right, they did.
Yeah, that was crazy. Not gonna lie, I still got that shit.
Oh, Moe's is good, though.
I only had that like once or twice. I
Yeah,
never
no,
had that
Moe's
much.
is good. Anyway, we've been going on for a while. I think it's time to cut it off and finish this blunt in peace. And we'll be back next Thursday talking conspiracy theories. Next week might be a long episode, let's just say that. prepare for that. And one last shout out to our sponsor, Blaze Boss Fronto.
Alright, we're about to head out.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Say you want smoke, you can drop the address. I'm a stone cold killer, I'ma do so on my chest. 50 cal deagle bullet shooting through the vest. Hope the